Today I want to talk to you about believing is seeing. How to believe when facing impossible odds. Because that's really where most of us find ourselves most days when we get ready to step into any new arena. We find ourselves facing impossible odds. And I was thinking, like, how can I really get people to believe in believing? How can I get people to wrap their minds around the fact that you don't have to know how? You don't have to know how you're going to do it. Most people erroneously believe. We've been miseducated so well and programmed by the miseducational, misdirectional system so well that we believe that if we don't know the answer, we're wrong. Why proceed if I'm wrong? So I don't know the answer, then I must be going in a wrong direction. And I think I have to know how to do something before I decide to do it. I submit to you that you don't. You can just decide to do something you don't know how to do. And then start working towards it if you can discipline yourself to believe it long enough to work on it until you prove yourself right. People, like when I coach people, I can tell the true believers from the wishful thinkers. And the difference between the true believers and the wishful thinkers is the true believers take massive and immediate action. They take grand steps. They run towards what everybody else runs from, and they just trust that it's going to work out even though they don't know how. And you say, but Myron, that's a gift. Yeah, it's a gift that God gave all of us, but we still have to decide to use it. Like if I could give you a gift, the gift that I would give you is the ability to only believe in favorable outcomes for yourself, your work, your family, your finances. Only believe in favorable outcomes. Do you understand that every action you take in the present is based on something you believe about the future? Do you understand that every action you don't take in the present is based on something you believe about the future? It's not a question of whether or not you believe. Yes, you believe. That's not the question. It's not the question. You definitely believe. The question is not do you believe, the question is what do you believe? And what do you believe? Why do you believe it? How do you believe it? Because what you're going to do after you believe it is see, people think, well, yeah, but I can't help but believe this. No. Time out, baby. You can help but believe it. But once you believe it, you can't help what you do. That's the I can't help comes after the belief. It doesn't come before the belief. And so believing is expectation. And expectation is everybody tap yourself on the chest, say mine. Greatest superpower. That's your greatest superpower. Your greatest superpower is not your intellect. Your greatest superpower is not your talent. Your greatest superpower is not your athletic ability. Your greatest superpower is your ability to believe in a favorable outcome. Michael Jordan's not the greatest basketball player of all times just because he had the greatest talent and the greatest physical structure. He didn't have the greatest physical structure of all basketball players. Probably doesn't even have the greatest athletic ability. But nobody believed in their ability to produce a W on the basketball court more than Michael Jordan. Steve Jobs is not the greatest programmer who ever programmed a computer. But he had the greatest belief in his desired outcome probably of any co-founder, business mogul in our lifetime until Elon Musk came along on the scene. I'm not saying they're good people. That's none of my. I don't have time to fix that right now. But let's say you think they're not good people, and you think that If they were better people, the world would be a better place. But you're a better person, but you let them have better belief in what they believe in than you have in what you believe. It blows my mind. People come to me and say, well, if I had that much money, I'd give it to so-and-so. Right, but you don't believe in the cause you're telling me to give to enough to go make enough money to give to it. But you want me to give my money to something you deem as valuable. See, you may be confused by that. I'm not confused. I'm very clear. And I know that you can decide to believe something different than you've decided to believe in the past. Even though you decided to believe it because you were programmed to decide to believe it, you didn't decide to believe it by your own design. You literally decided to believe it based on the design that somebody else created for programming you to believe in what you believe. Quit tripping. You weren't born believing anything you believe right now. So don't even say, well, I've just always believed. You haven't always believed anything. Always believed? You didn't even know your left hand from you didn't know your hand from your foot. You won't tell me you always believe? No, you learned to, you were programmed to believe it. Okay. So, you don't need to learn to decide to believe. But you do need to learn to decide what to believe. You already decide to believe. You already do that. That's what you already do. Now you got to ask yourself this question. Are the beliefs that I've decided in the past to believe, are they serving me at the highest level and giving me the ability to serve others at the highest level? If they are not, maybe it's time to examine some new beliefs. I love the fact that when there's somebody that I care about or a cause that I care about that needs my help, and that help is financial, I don't let the money decide for me whether or not to help them. Why? Because I'm in control of the money. It's not in control of me. Money is a great servant and a terrible master. And usually when money is your master, when you want to do something beneficial for someone other than you, your master money says, no, you can't do that because you don't have enough money. Money was way more of a master for me when I didn't have any. No man can serve two masters. Oh, Lord. Then now that I do have, money doesn't control me at all now. Doesn't matter. Like, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think. I don't have to, I don't have to delineate for 17 hours whether or not I'm going to help somebody. Okay. You have to decide what to believe. Why do I have to decide what to believe? Okay. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a couple of things. You have to decide what to believe because, how shall we do this? Let's do it like this. What is that word, everybody? Believing. Can y'all say it loud so people in the back row can hear? Believing. Believing. Okay, so cool. Okay, let's see if we get the next one right. Since y'all know so much. What is that word, everybody? Believing. Believing. Okay, I bet you won't get this one. I got something up my sleeve. Y'all ready? What's that word? Believing. Let's read all three of them together. Believing, believing, believing. Let's read them again. Believing, believing, believing. Now, why did I write believing up there 3 times? It's really fascinating how this is the principle. Okay? Believing is a compound word. Living. You will be living what you're believing, even though you be lying. What does that mean? You will be living what you're believing, even though you be lying. What does that mean? That means anything I tell myself about a future outcome, I made it up. What does that mean? Well, when we're done here today and after I have a meeting, then I'm going to go home. I made that up. Do I know I'm going to go home? Has there ever been anybody in world history who decided to go home, but when they decided to go home, something happened between where they were and home that they never made it home? Has that ever happened? Happens all the time. It happens all the time. Okay, so it happens all the time. So why don't I say instead then, I'm going to do my best to go home, and hopefully, while I'm walking out the door, I don't accidentally slam my finger in the door, and then I have to end up going to the emergency room. And then if I make it to my car and I pull out into the interstate, I hope I don't get hit by a train or a truck. And then I'm going to get on the interstate and hope I don't get a blowout, and then it throws my car over a bridge, and then hopefully get home in time. And by the time I get home, hopefully my house isn't burned down. Now, I would sound like what? A crazy person, right? I would sound like a crazy person if I threw all of those potential contingencies in front of me when I said, instead of just saying I'm going to go home. But when things that are simple and they don't have incredibly impactful outcomes, we just say we're going to do it. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to the golf course. I'm going to go ride my bike. I'm going to go work out. No, sorry, I'm going to go do my best and work out and hopefully not die of a heart attack while I'm on and not having any. No, we don't say any of that. We just say I'm going to go work out. But we could think of some contingencies. There are some possibilities, some things that could go wrong while we're getting ready to work out. Is that not about? I'm going to go eat dinner. Hey, we're going to go out to dinner tonight. I don't say I'm going to go out to dinner and hopefully eat my food and not strangle on. Right? We don't do that. Why? Because the results are inconsequential. They're expected. We expect to be able to go out and eat and not have some tragic thing happen. But when we get ready to do something that's going to change our life drastically and dramatically, we throw out all the possible contingencies. And the first word we start using is we start using this word that doesn't mean anything. We start using the backdoor escape hatch called try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to build a business. I'm going to try to create some content. I'm going to try to build a YouTube channel. And I'm going to try to go out and walk. I'm going to try. And what am I doing? I'm saying, I don't believe it's going to work. And I'm letting you know in advance that I have a back door. If it doesn't work, I tried. See, but nobody ever taught us to look at try like that. Like try it's almost a 4-letter word. But it's a 3-letter word. One more letter. But it's like, I hate the word try. Yeah, I'm going to try to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to try. No, I'm not going to try to do it. I'm just going to do it. But that's so arrogant, Myron. Okay, I'm going to let you believe it's arrogant, but this is how I control what I do in the present by not throwing contingencies out there of things that might stop me. When I decide to do something, I just decide to do it. I don't decide to try to do it. Why? Because deciding to try to do it causes me to focus on all the things that could stop me from doing it. Why would I want to do that? Well, y'all tracking. Okay, cool. Y'all are with me so far. Now, what's interesting is B, living, like living, do, and then having. And here's the lie of having. You say, what's the lie of having? Our focus is on the having. We think having is going to make us feel fulfilled. But the reality is having is going to force us to do, and doing is going to force us to become. And then when we become, that's where really the joy comes from. This is how, it's such a beautifully inverted picture, but most people don't understand how it works. Now, I've given this illustration before, but not so many times that you remember it. Okay? So, the title of this video is Believing is Seeing, but that's not what we've heard all our lives. We've heard all our lives what? Seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. Is believing is a formula for staying stuck. This is a formula for staying stuck. Why? Because in order for you to believe something, you have to see something first. So you see something, and then you believe it. Now, if you want to believe something else, you got to come back over here and start over, and see something else, and now you can believe that. And then you got to come back and start over again. You got to see something else, and then you can believe that. And then you got to start over again. And so what happens is, if seeing is believing, if that's the formula you operate from, you literally can't gain momentum because you're always starting over. Are y'all tracking? But you know, God, in his infinite wisdom, he gave us some formulas. But we don't see them as formulas. He gave us some patterns, but we don't see them as patterns. He gave us some principles, but we don't see them as principles. So here's what King David said. King David said, I had fainted unless I had, this is Psalm 27:13, I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. So where did David start? David started with with believing. Now here's what's really cool. I had fainted unless I had believed to see. So I started with believing, and I believed it until I saw it. And when I saw it, did that make me believe more or less? More. So now I got some more money. I'm back over at believing. And then I can start again from believing. And watch what happens. I start with believing. Now I have faith momentum. And it compounds and compounds and compounds and gets bigger and gets bigger and gets bigger because I started with believing and I didn't start with seeing. And see, nobody ever taught you that you can start by believing. You don't have to start by seeing. You don't have to know. Well, if I knew, I'd believe. No. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence or proof of things not seen. For by it, that is faith, the elders obtained a good report. What does it say next? By faith we understand. It did not say by understanding we have faith. It said by faith we understand that the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. That the worlds were framed by the word of God, and the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith we understand. The Bible is so many thousands of years ahead of science. Science catches up eventually and thinks we uncovered this. Uncovered this in the Bible. I literally had this conversation with a physicist one time on an airplane. We talked about it for like 5 hours. Because I asked him the question. I said, I said, Austin from Boston, yep. So he sat me down beside me, started talking about physics in San Diego. We didn't stop until we landed in Baltimore. And so Austin said, I said, what is at the center of an atom? He said, the nucleus. I said, what's at the center of the nucleus? He said, nothing. I said, are you trying to tell me that nothing is at the center of everything? He said, no, I'm telling you that nothing is everything. So there. I said, oh, that kind of reminds me of something I read in the Bible. By faith we understand that the worlds, plural, were made. By faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen, the visible world, were made of things which do not appear, the invisible world. What if you actually believed? What if you actually believed that the invisible realm is reality and the physical realm is merely a manifestation of reality? It doesn't matter if we talk about this pen that I'm holding in my hand. I have this pen in my hand. That's what magicians do. I don't know what they do after that. So I have this pen in my hand. This pen, I can hold it, I can feel it, I can thump it, right? It's real, I can feel it, but it's made of molecules that are invisible. How's that possible? But so is everything. Everything that we can see and experience is made of something that we can't see or feel or hear. I don't understand it. But the beauty is you don't have to understand it. You just have to believe it. And the more you believe, the more your belief intensifies, the greater your understanding intensifies. That's why King Solomon, the wisest, wealthiest man who ever lived, he said, they that seek the Lord understand all things. You know what that's called? A clue. Okay. By the way, I'm going somewhere with this. Because there are some of you want to build a YouTube channel, but you're asking yourself disempowering questions. Why would somebody want to watch me on YouTube? I get it. I had the same question. Why would somebody want to watch me on YouTube? But apparently somebody does. I had the same question. I just did it anyway. Why does somebody want to listen to me? Because to me, the stuff I know is not that different than the stuff I know. So it seems commonplace to me because it's commonplace to me. But what's commonplace to me apparently is not commonplace to everybody. But guess what? What's commonplace to you is not commonplace to everybody either. And so, this concept of seeing is believing if that's the case, I need to understand something. I hate to keep overusing this illustration, but this is probably my favorite illustration of all the illustrations that I know, because the ramifications of it are so impactful. And I know y'all have seen it before. Man, that guy got cut in half. Okay. The ramifications are mind-blowing. This is me, or you. This is you. These are the facts. Now, when I observe the facts, either I see them or I hear them. The first thing I do when I observe any fact, the first thing I do is I put a frame around those facts. Why? Because frames create focus. So that frame is in the form of a focus in my head. Now, here's the interesting thing about the fact. When I'm focused on the facts, I think I'm focused on the facts, but I'm really not completely focused on the facts. I'm completely focused on an aspect of the facts. Which aspect am I focused on? I'm focused on either the positive aspect of the fact or the negative aspect of the fact, because all facts have both aspects. They have a positive aspect and they have a negative aspect. When I'm focused on the positive aspect, I think I'm focused. This is why you have people that believe different things with regard to their faith. This is why you have people who believe different things according to politics. This is why you have people who believe not just different, but like diametrically opposing things when it comes to money or business or whatever. Why? Because when we look at the facts, we're looking at an aspect of the facts, and we think we're looking at the whole thing. Okay? By the way, why do I say that the facts have to have a positive aspect and a negative aspect? Well, because have you ever eaten a one-sided pancake? No. Have you ever eaten a one-sided piece of bread? I'm going to butter this one-sided piece of bread. No, you're going to butter a two-sided. You might butter one side, but you buttering one side of a two-sided piece of bread. You ain't going to flip a one-sided coin, right? You ain't going to write on a one-sided piece of paper. Why not? Why? Somebody tell me. Why not? What's that? Edward said because it doesn't exist, but it's not. That's really close. It's not because it doesn't exist. It's because it can't exist. It cannot exist. It is impossible for anything to exist with only one side. Now, I want you to wrap your mind around that, which means whatever you're looking at in your life that feels like an immovable obstacle to you, it feels like that because you're only looking at one side. See, the children of Israel could only see how big the giant was. They forgot how big the covenant promise was. David remembered how big the covenant was. And he saw that the covenant was bigger than the giant, which caused him to run toward the giant that everybody else ran from. You say, what do you mean, the covenant? The covenant, God said, I'll bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. When David heard Goliath cursing, he knew Goliath couldn't win. He knew Goliath couldn't win because his focus was in a different place than everybody else's focus. And I am telling you, the things that you are doing them because of where your focus is, not because of the facts. Your focus may be factual, but it's not completely factual. This is why you've heard people say before, if your attitude is right, the facts don't matter. And you let the facts stop you, but you're not really letting the facts stop you. You're letting an aspect of the facts stop you. The aspect of the facts that you're focused on, you're letting that stop you. And that's why you stop. Okay, well, but wait, there's more. When you focus on an aspect of the facts, what that's going to cause you to do is that's going to cause you to manufacture a belief. This is the part people really don't get. And by the way, belief is a traveling salesperson, but it's going to cause you to manufacture a belief. If you're focused on the positive aspect of the fact, the belief that you're going to manufacture is known as faith. But if you're focused on a negative aspect of the fact, the belief you're going to manufacture is called doubt. Now, here's the part people don't realize. Faith and doubt are both belief. I'm going to say that again. Faith and doubt are both belief. Most people think that faith is belief and doubt is the absence of belief. Doubt is not the absence of belief. Doubt is the presence of the opposite belief. Are y'all tracking? Which means faith is belief in the outcome I desire. Doubt is belief in the outcome I don't desire. When you have more belief in the outcome you don't desire than you do belief in the outcome you do desire, it literally robs you of the power to take an action. If I got ready to sit in my chair right there and I believe with every fiber of my being, oh, that leg is broken, that thing's not going to hold me with 3 legs, my expectation of the outcome of me sitting in that chair won't let me sit in that chair. So my faith my belief which is doubt, apprehended me. Are y'all tracking? So faith and doubt are both belief. Faith is belief in the promise of the Father. Doubt is belief in the promise of the fofo. You say, what's a fofo? A fofo is a foe. He's a fake enemy, which means he has no power over you except the power which you give to him. He's a fofo. And so what happens is, now this belief, it's a traveling salesman or saleswoman, depending. And this faith travels down and manifests as a feeling in your heart. And the feeling in your heart is going to be determined by the focus in your head and the belief that it manufactures. So if you're focused on the positive aspect of the fact and you're manufacturing faith as the belief, then the feeling in your heart is going to be anticipation. Anticipation is such a powerful, powerful tool to be used to build a compelling future, to work towards a compelling future. Anticipation, what is anticipation? I'm going to give you, you're not going to find this definition of anticipation in Webster's dictionary. You will find it in Golden's dictionary, which has not been published yet. But I'm going to give it to you anyway in advance of the publication. And that is, anticipation is the energy I get when the outcome I expect is desirable to me. What is anticipation? The energy I get when the outcome I expect is desirable to me. What does that mean? Do y'all remember when y'all were little kids, Christmas Eve, and you snuck into your parents' room or in the attic or in the basement or wherever they hid the presents, and you knew what you were getting. You saw what you were getting. And you got so excited because you were getting that electric guitar or that go-kart or whatever that thing was that you wanted. And then your parents, if they were as sadistic as mine, they always made you go to bed early on Christmas Eve. Like you can stay up all night on a Friday, but on Christmas Eve, you don't have school the next day, but you got to go to bed early, 7:30. What were you on to bed at 7:30 for? Oh, we're going to bed at 7:30 because my parents have work to do and they don't want me watching them. So my brothers and I, got 6 brothers, my brothers and I, we go upstairs. We go to bed. There's only one thing we can't do. What's it called? Sleep. We can't sleep. Why can't we sleep? Because the energy that we're getting from the anticipation of what we're getting the next day won't allow us to sleep. So we stay up to about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And then we wake up at 5, go banging on our parents' door. Can we get up now? Well, how do we only need 3 hours of sleep? Because anticipation is the energy I get when the outcome I expect is desirable to me. Are y'all tracking? But what if I'm focused on the negative aspect of the fact? And I'm manufacturing a belief called doubt. Then the feeling in my heart is called anxiety. Now, anxiety is the thief of your dreams. Anxiety is the thing that has kept you from all the things you've been kept from your whole life. Did I say that too fast? It is the thing, not a thing. In fact, anxiety is so devastating. Jesus warned us about it in Matthew chapter 6. When he said, take no thought for the morrow, you know what that means? Take no thought means don't have anxiety over tomorrow. He said, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. What's he saying? He's saying, don't waste today's energy worrying about tomorrow's problems. Because when you waste today's energy worrying about tomorrow's problem, you have no energy left to deal with today's problems. The Apostle Paul warned us about the same thing when he said, be careful for nothing. Don't have anxiety over anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. What's he saying? He's saying anxiety will steal your future, the brightness from your future. Anxiety is the thief of your dreams. And literally, people waste their energy. Now, here's the thing. Most people mislabel anxiety as fear. As fear. But anxiety is not fear. It feels like fear. Smells like fear. Looks like fear. Causes the same physical reactions in my body as fear. But anxiety is not fear. Why? What's the difference? Okay. Anybody play golf other than me? Okay, a couple of you. Have you ever played golf and you're in Florida, you're playing golf, and you hit your ball a little close to the water, and you go over there, you're so focused on your ball that you didn't see the alligator until you got too close. Anybody ever have that other than me? Right? And it's like, and then you go, right? And you take this deep breath, and you try to slowly move away, like, okay, I got to get up out of here. That alligator can have that ball, right? Okay. That's not anxiety. That's fear. Why? Because fear is caution over a real and present danger, which means if there is no real and present danger, there can be no fear. Did I say that too fast? Let me say it again. Fear is caution over a real and present danger, which means if there is no real and present danger, there can be no fear. What is anxiety? Anxiety, watch this now, is caution over a future imagined danger. Caution over a future imagined danger, and I'm seeing that future imagined danger happening so vividly and so clearly that it's causing a physical reaction in my body in the present. You ever heard somebody say never worry about anything because worrying about it makes it happen? Do you know why worrying about it makes it happen? Worrying about it makes it happen because worrying about it wastes the energy that you could have used to solve the problem. So, anxiety, the feeling of anxiety, and human beings being singularly motivated like we are, and by the way, our singular motivation as human beings is feeling. We do things because we feel like it. What we have to learn how to do is not make ourselves do the things that we're not doing, that we know we ought to do. We need to learn how to make ourselves feel like doing the things that we ought to do. If I learn how to make myself feel like it, it's easy for me to make myself not feel like eating a cookie. That's easy. I just think about how dizzy I'm going to feel, and then the headache I'm going to get, and how sleepy I'm going to be after I eat it. And now I've got stuff I want to do that are like this little temporary 30-second joy that I'm going to get from eating this cookie is not worth it to me anymore. I'm done. It's a wrap. Why? It's easy for me to say no. In fact, I've been doing it so long, thank God, because this has not always been the case. It's easier for me to say no than it is for me to say yes. In fact, it's easier for me not to eat anything until at least 11 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because it's a habit now, but I made myself feel like it because I realized if I only give myself I'm not saying you need to do this, but if I only give myself a really short eating window, like 4 hours a day, and I only eat during those 4 hours, I'm only putting stuff in my body that my body has to deal with for 4 hours during a 24-hour day, then my body has time and energy to rebuild stuff and to make stuff work, and my mind has clarity for 20 hours out of the day. It's mind-blowingly refreshing. I'm not saying you need to do that, but I made myself feel like doing it, and now it's easy. Okay, now, so when I focus on the positive aspect of the fact, this is what I have to learn to do intentionally, focus on the positive aspect of the fact, manufacture a belief called faith, so I can develop this feeling called anticipation, because when I do that, it's going to put a power in my hand. Not a power in my hand. It's going to put a function in my hands. So the focus in my head produces a feeling in my heart, and the feeling in my heart produces a function in my hands. And when I say in my hands, I mean my actions. Now I can do something. I can do something. Why? Because I feel like it. I feel like it's going to work, even though I don't know it's going to work. You can't know it's going to work. But you can make yourself feel like it's going to work so much that you feel like you know it's going to work, even though you don't know how it's going to work. I would rather know that it's going to work than know how it's going to work. I've coached people who are like, yeah, as soon as I understand how to do it, I'm going to get started. Well, you're never going to get started. You're never going to get started. Because it's like me saying, I'm going to drive up to Pennsylvania and see my brother Mike. I'll drive up, I'm going to see Mike. And all his kids and their kids and all my relatives up there in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I'm going to drive. And you say, Myron, when are you leaving? Well, I'm going to leave Tampa as soon as I can see the Pennsylvania state line. When do I get to Tampa? When do I get to Pennsylvania? Never. But there are so many people who live their life like that, they're not going to leave the circle of sameness until they can see clearly the border of the place they desire to go. You're never going to get there. Is what I'm saying making any sense? Okay, So what's the function of my hand? Well, if I'm focused on the positive aspect of the fact and manufacturing a belief called faith, and I'm building anticipation, then the function of my hand is called power. I now have the power to act. Writers say, I have writer's block. You don't have writer's block. You're expecting the book not to sell. That's your writer's block. Your writer's block is, this book's not going to sell. Who's going to want to buy this book? And so it's, as human beings, it's almost impossible for us to work on or towards something that we believe inherently will not work. So in order for me to even work on it, I have to believe it's going to work. I don't have to know it's going to work, and I don't have to know how it's going to work, but I have to believe it's going to work in order for me to work on it. Okay, cool. So if the function of my hand is power, but what if I'm so focused on the negative aspect of the facts that I'm manufacturing a belief called doubt, which is nothing more than belief in the outcome I don't desire, and the promise of the fofo. Now I'm manufacturing a feeling called anxiety, which is producing in my hands the function called powerlessness. Did you know that inaction is itself an action because of entropy? Inaction is itself an action because of entropy. What does that mean? That means in order for any aspect of your life to get better, it requires energy and intention. So, like the first law of Newton's first law of motion, everything is energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just changes form. Everything is always, we're always turning our energy into something else. Let me ask you a question. If we're always turning our energy into something else, if we have positive energy, do you think that's going to produce, we're going to turn that positive energy into something else that's positive or something else that's negative? If the energy is positive. Positive. What if our energy is negative? Are we going to turn that negative energy into something positive or something negative? Negative. It's just how it works. Everything is energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just changes form. That's the first law. What's the second law? The law of entropy. What's the law of entropy state? Anything left to itself tends to move more and more towards disorder. By the way, just those two laws by themselves disprove evolution. I know y'all don't know this. I like throwing out asides to give people stuff to go look up. Evolution was a racist theory that Charles Darwin came up with to prove that when you evolve to your highest state, you will be a white person. Like, I'm not. That's not me saying that. Like, you can go look it up yourself. The original subtitle, co-title of Origin of Species is something like a fight for the preservation of life in favored races. That was the other title for that book. It had nothing to do with science. Charles Darwin wasn't even a scientist, but that's another conversation for a different day. I thought I'd throw it out there so you can go look it up, though. Be interesting to find out. That's what. Anyway, you say, Myron, what's your point? My point. I don't even remember what my point is now. Entropy. Right. So energy and entropy disprove evolution because evolution says, well, if you leave things alone long enough, they get better. But entropy says if you leave things alone long enough, they get worse. Think about it. I don't smell anybody who smells terrible in here. Probably because you did something in the last 24 hours to make yourself smell good. Now, did you ever notice you don't have to make yourself stink? You just have to not make yourself smell good, and you will stink. You don't have to make yourself dirty, but you have to make yourself clean. Like, I don't ever get in the dirt and play with the dirt with my hands, but I still have to clean my fingernails. Where's that stuff come from? It comes from entropy. Do you ever notice when you plant a garden, you have to plant the crops. You have to plant the tomatoes. You got to plant the peppers. You got to plant the squash. Right? You got to plant the pepper. But you don't have to plant the weeds. They just show up. And not only do you not have to plant them, you have to pull them. You have to use energy to overcome the entropy that is weeds. Do you not find? And by the way, we know that the God's ideal environment for man is a garden. And the reason God put man in the garden was to dress it and keep it. Why? Because God showed us that man is not just the gardener, he's also the garden. Because the man was made from the dust of the ground that the food was planted in. And just like the food has to grow down before it grows up, every human being, if you're going to grow something that's worthwhile, you're going to have to use energy and intention to make it grow down before it can grow up. What? It blows my ever-loving mind that people don't get that if you do not apply energy and intention to your life to make it better, you're by default making it worse. See, you don't have to do anything to intentionally make your life worse. All you have to do is not intentionally make it better. Today, when? Everybody say it. When? Today. Today, I am either going to use energy and intention to get stronger, or entropy is going to attack me and I'm going to be weaker. I can't stay the same. There's no such thing as the same. I need to stay the same. No, you ain't staying the same. The forces are against you, and you have to go against them. Well, today is the day I'm going to get richer, I'm going to get poorer. Today is not a day for me to get weaker or poorer. I'm going to get healthier today, I'm going to get sicker today, but I ain't staying the same. Today is not a day for me to get sicker. I'm going to apply energy and intention to every valuable aspect of my life to ensure that it is getting better by design and not getting worse by default. Energy and intention are required for anything to improve in a human's life, but the only thing that's required for it to get worse is neglect. Okay, so if I'm focused on positive aspects of the fact, manufacturing belief called faith, having anticipation makes me happy. I take action, and when I take this action, this is the do. When I take the action of doing, the have shows up in my hand. There is no shortcut to the have. You got to go through the whole. By the way, I did this one time. Somebody came up to me, she said, this lady was in the audience, she came up to me, she said, that's cognitive behavioral psychology. It might be that. She's probably right. This is probably cognitive behavioral psychology. But I didn't get it from a cognitive behavioral psychologist. I got it from the Bible. Yes, that's the book for me.
Okay, amen.
That's where I got it from.
That's right.
Now, cognitive behavioral psychology finally caught up to what Jesus said and what the Apostle Paul said, and then they called it cognitive behavioral psychology. I got this from Romans chapter 6, verse number 17, where it says, but you've obeyed, that's the function in your hand, from the heart, that's the feeling in your heart, that form of doctrine, that's the focus in your head, which was delivered you. Focus, feeling, function. Jesus said, if you know these things, focus, happy are you, feeling, if you do them, function. It's in the Bible. Okay. So Myron, and here's what's really tragic and sad. Most of us have so much practice focusing on the negative aspect of the fact. Do you realize that this world system is designed to get you to focus on the negative aspect of the fact? They get you to focus on the negative aspect of the fact by putting the bad news on the television, the radio, the newspaper, anywhere they can put it, so they bombard you with the bad news all day long. And you say, Myron, why do you call it the bad news? Because it's not just the news, it's the bad news. If it bleeds, it leads. Right? And so they get you focused on all the negative stuff that's going on in the world that you can't do anything about, so that you now can worry about all the stuff going on in the world, and you don't have any energy left to do something about the stuff you can fix in the world. That's why I don't watch the news. It's not a good use of my time. And certainly not a good use of my energy. And so we've been programmed by default. And even if you don't watch the news, you're surrounded by people who do. And so they're going to come tell you all the bad news because they've been studying the bad news for the last 24 hours. And they're going to come tell you the bad news. So now you can be as sad as they are, and you can join them in worrying. And so what happens, we've been programmed to focus on the negative aspect of the facts so we can have doubt, so that we can have anxiety, so we can have powerlessness. Because if they can get us to focus on this long enough, they know, they being the system, the creators of the system, who believe in a zero-sum game, in order for them to have sum, you have to have zero. They get you to focus on that because they know that people who are focused on the negative aspect of the facts are easier to control. Okay. So, Myron, I'm not supposed to worry. What am I supposed to do? You have to learn how, in real time, to practice thought replacement. Now, thought replacement, what does that mean? It means when I'm tempted to focus on the negative aspect of the facts, and I'm tempted to focus on it, and then I'm tempted to feel anxiety, I need to replace this anxiety with anticipation. And I need to do that in real time, by the way. And by the way, if I've never done it before, I don't even really know how to do it. But the way I do it is I shift my focus. I have to replace the anxious, I'm going to say this a couple of times, I have to replace the anxious apprehension. Apprehend means to stop. When you have anxiety about something, it stops you. All you can do when you're anxious is sit down or lie down. You can't even sleep. You just nothing's even happening. You're just expecting this unfavorable thing, and now you're having this like anxiety attack. That's what anxiety, like your heart's beating really, really fast. You're having the same physical reaction in your body as if you were in a fight, because your brain has gone into fight or flight mode. And so I have to learn how in real time to replace the anxious apprehension of the outcome I don't desire with the joyful anticipation of the outcome I do desire. And I have to learn how to do that in real time. It says in the book of Romans, it says, I beseech you, or I beg you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your body as a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Okay? And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So the way you transform your experience of life is by renewing your mind. The word renew, by the way, means to renovate. And renovate, the word renovate, if you've ever renovated anything, means to tear out the old and replace it with the new. It doesn't mean cover up the old with the new. Like, I'm not going to put the thoughts, the positive aspects of the facts in my mind and let them cohabitate with the negative aspects of the facts. No, the negative aspect of the facts is getting evicted. You out. But I don't care. Go. Where am I going? I don't care. Get up at the him. I'm going to replace it with a positive aspect of the fact in real time. Now, I know that this works. But before I show you that last thing, because I want to give, and you say, Myron, but you're not giving me any step-by-steps. I'm intentionally not giving you step-by-steps because you think you need a step-by-step in order to do it. You don't need a step-by-step. Here's the step. Decide to believe things that are going to empower you. That's the step. That's the first step. That's the middle step. That's the last step. Decide what to believe. That's the step. And decide to believe something that's going to empower you instead of, by default, believing something that disempowers you. That's the step. You want an outline? That's the step. That's the outline. Okay, decide what to believe. Okay. It says, so y'all remember many moons ago now, there was this video that came out. It was really, really popular. And it was called, wow, that's big. What did I do? Okay. So, it was called Law of what? Attraction. And they said, well, all you have to do is believe and think good thoughts and feel good feelings and good things will happen for you. It's like, it's magical. Just think these good thoughts and feel these good feelings. I'm just thinking these good thoughts. What you doing, man? I'm thinking good thoughts and feeling good feelings, right? And then they wanted to, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. They wanted to turn God into the universe, God or the universe or whatever you want to call it. Right? That's the dumbest thing. Anyway, I'm not going to call it dumb. I'm going to say it's ridiculous. That's what I'm going to call it, because it's ridiculous. That's like saying Elon Musk or a Tesla Model S or whatever you want to call it. Right? If I called a Tesla Model, oh, Elon Musk is in the parking lot. What if I came and told, I saw a Tesla in the parking lot. I said, Elon Musk is in the parking lot. I said, where you at? Where you at? Right there. That's not Elon Musk. That's a Tesla. Yeah, but it's Elon Musk. No, it's pretty much what Elon Musk invented. It's Elon Musk's creation. It's not Elon Musk. Well, that car is more Elon Musk than the universe is God. That'll let you think about something, won't it? Now, you may not want to acknowledge God. That's fine. But at least be honest about it. I don't want to acknowledge God. Say that. Cool. You don't have to. I'm not even trying to get you to acknowledge God. But I'm not going to say the universe or God just because you don't feel comfortable with me telling the truth. I'm not running for office. I don't have to be politically correct. It's amazing. I can just declare the truth as I see it. Imagine that. Okay, law of attraction. But you do understand that all truth belongs to God. And if the law of attraction does work at all, and it does. It does work, but it doesn't work how they told you it works. Okay, Myron, are you saying you believe in the law of attraction? I'm saying I believe in God's principles. That's what I'm saying. And if the law of attraction does work, it works because it belongs to God. And even if they want to take it and act like it's a thing all by its own self. Okay, here's what happens. What I have to learn to do in real time is take the thing that I'm focused on that's causing me to believe in the outcome I don't desire and replace it by focusing on the outcome of the thing I do desire. And when I replace the doubt with faith, it gives me the ability, everybody say ability. It gives me the ability to take an action in faith that I could not take in doubt. So when I believe it now, believing that it's going to work, not knowing how it's going to work, believing that it's going to work gives me the ability to act, to work towards it working, to work towards making it work. I am telling you that if you're out there in the YouTubeosphere, if you are in this room, you could decide to believe that you're going to go accomplish something that seems impossible to you right now. And it is impossible to you right now, who you are right now, but it's not impossible to the person that you can become. You can decide to believe, start believing, and then you start working towards it. You don't have to know how. I promise. I would rather believe that it's going to work. If I had to choose between believing that it's going to work and knowing how it's going to work, I would choose believing that it's going to work every time. Because if I believe it's going to work, I'm going to figure out, I'm going to find out, I'm going to discover how to make it work. But if I know it, if I know how to make it work, I may or may not believe that it's worth working on, and I may not work on it, even if I know how it's going to work. What if I start doubting the things that I know that it says, like I start doubting the instruction manual? I don't know, that might not work. I'm going to stop working on it. I'm telling you, belief is the linchpin. It's the big domino. It's the thing that makes all the difference. It's not the thing that makes most of the difference. It's the thing that makes all the difference. Okay. So if I'm replacing a thought that it might not work, a belief that it might not work with, watch this, the faith that it will work. Oop, I left out the T in action. Why didn't y'all tell me I left out the T? Action. Okay? The law of attraction. I took out the T, second T and the R, and the law of attraction is actually the law of action. What does that mean? When I believe that it's going to work, it gets me in action to make it work. I can take an action in faith that I could not take in doubt. Okay. So I drew an illustration before I got started, and I want to show this to y'all. I'm going to show y'all what this looks like to me. Because last week I had the privilege of having Dr. Ben in here, and Dude Ranch blew my mind. So we're going to draw an intersection. I say we're going to draw an intersection. We is me. Okay, who is we? We is me. Okay, we're going to draw an intersection. Okay? And then, so we come to this intersection, and there's a light. Okay? And the light has a red light, and it has a yellow light. That's not yellow. I think that's yellow. It has a yellow light, and it has a green light. And I know this may be gray, but it looks green to me. Okay, so this is the signal. This is the traffic signal, right? So I come to this intersection, and I'm coming from my place of deployment, which is where I am now. And this is my place of destiny. never tried to write up sideways before. That's fun. Guys, you got to try this at least once. It's worth it. Okay, so that's a place of destiny. This is the place of doubt. And this is the place of distraction. When I come to this signal, when I come to this traffic light, the thing that's going to make all the difference in the world for me when I come to this light is what signal am I focused on? When I come to this light, I want to go this way. Am I going to focus on, but the light's red, or the light's yellow, I got to slow down. Or like people in Florida do, the light's green, I'm going to slow down. Madness, okay? I live in New Tampa, right? So, do these people not know that these lights on Bruce B. Down last for 3 days? What we doing, people? The light's green. What we doing? Why are we ooching up to a green light, baby? Okay, never mind. Okay, so your destiny is up here. But you know what else is up here? Obstacles, difficulty, disruption that follows intention, opposing forces. All these things are here. And you're like, is it even worth it? And so some people doubt that it's worth it. They make a U-turn and go back to the place of deployment. Some people say, yeah, well, that would be worth it, but this looks like so much more fun. I'm just going to go play on my phone. Here's what I'm telling you. Here's the whole thing. The only way to get to your destiny is trust. When it comes to the signal, is trust that the only green light you need is belief. It will change everything for you. There's I have a little bit of an advantage. I've been living like this for a long time. Here's something I discovered. I discovered that when I make up my mind to do something, circumstances align themselves in my favor. Most people make dead-end statements when they come to the intersection of destiny. And they say, I can't because. That's where doubt creeps in, right? I can't because. And then they talk about all the roadblocks. And they're so focused on the roadblocks that they don't realize. You can just drive around the roadblock. Because there's a little sign there, right up there where that roadblock is, that says local traffic only. And that local traffic is for people who believe. Well. And so I was instead of coming to what seems like an impasse and concluding that it's an impasse, what if instead of making a dead-end statement, well, I guess it's over now, I guess right? Instead of doing that, what if I said, instead of saying, I can't go any further, what if I said, how can I go farther? What if I said that? What if I learned to ask myself empowering questions, or at least questions that could have an empowering answer, instead of making disempowering statements? How much would that change my life? Pretty much 1,000%. Do you understand that it does not serve you or give you the ability to serve anybody to believe more in your limitations than you do your leverage? It is a disservice to you, the God that made you in his image, and your legacy, for you to believe more in the opposing forces than you do in your God-likeness. I was talking to one of my past clients last week, and she said, Myron, I remember one time I came to you. I may have told you this story already, but I'm going to tell you again because I need to hear it. She said, I love how you just make people feel like they can do it, and you're so encouraging to people. And she said, you looked at me and you said, I'm not trying to be encouraging. I'm not trying to be encouraging. I'm not encouraging you. I just see you the way God sees you. You're made in the image of God. How could that little itty-bitty, teeny-weeny thing stop you? It's infinitesimal. It's insignificant. It matters not. It's like a penny. It's like letting a penny stop you from picking up millions of dollars. It's like being afraid of drowning in a teaspoon of water. It's nebulous. It does not matter. I'm not trying to be encouraging. I'm just seeing something different than you're seeing when we're looking at the same thing. I read a book called U Squared by Price Pritchett. And one of the conclusions I came to as a result of reading that book was this. Because it's about how to have a quantum leap, right? The quantum leap cannot be taught or even learned. The quantum leap must be discovered in the pursuit of the goal. Whew. You must accept it and expect it even when you can't explain how to have it. It's not a matter of making it happen. It's a matter of letting it happen. When you truly decide, side, to cut, when you cut yourself off from any other possibility, when you truly decide to do something, circumstances align themselves in your favor. When you say, I can't, your mind stops looking for an answer. But when you say, how can I, your mind will keep searching until it finds a way. You're going to be misunderstood. People are going to judge you. They're going to say, you're so out of balance. All you do is talk about business. You're so out of balance. All you do is talk about work, as if the 11th commandment was thou shalt be balanced. Balance is not the primary objective of life. If balance is anything, it is a season in life. And by the way, seasons last for a season. Yes, sir. Crack myself up. Season lasts for a season. And it's never winter and summer in the same place at the same time. It's either winter or summer. Now, Texas sometimes is winter and summer in the same day, but that's a different conversation. But it's never winter and summer in the same place at the same time. And balance is a season. The opposite season of balance is the season of focus. And when you are in the season of focus, you are completely out of balance. And when you are in the season of focus, you are when you're in the season of balance, you're completely out of focus. And when you're in the season of focus, you're completely out of balance. But I believe that God set it up in such a way that only those who focus in the season of focus earn the right to experience the seasons of balance. And so what I decided was I must allow myself to be obsessed in my season of focus, despite being judged, despite being misunderstood, despite being maligned. I have to be obsessed in my season of focus. Then and only then can I be blessed in my season of balance. That's how God set it up. Even Jesus himself was focused. He said, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day, for the night cometh when no man can work. You say, Myron, what are you saying? I'm saying decide to believe. I'm saying decide to believe. Decide what to believe. What are you going to believe? Are you going to believe in your ability to or your ability not to? You're going to believe. You believe it's going to not, are you going to put all your energy in believing it's not going to work? Or are you going to put your energy in believing that it's going to work because you're going to make it work? And you're bigger than it, whatever it is. Decide what to believe. And then determine to become the person who figures out the thing you decided to believe. You don't have to know in advance, but you have to believe in order to advance. Believing is seeing. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Let's go out of here believing. If you came in doubting, don't go out doubting. Go out believing. Decide that your family is worth doing something that like 1 hour and 7 minutes ago you thought was impossible. Decide. Oh yeah, it's going to work because I'm fixing to go make it work. And it better not try to stop me. This is my better not try to stop me face. God believes in you. See, what do you mean God believes in me? You're still here, ain't you? I believe in you. Go believe in yourself and go do it. Myron, don't you mean believe in God? The people I'm talking to, they already doing that part. You believe God's going to do his part. Well, guess what? His part's done. Now it's your turn. Your move. Go believe. Hope this helps you. Stay blessed by the best, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.